Good afternoon, everybody. Auronnj here with another War of the Visions video, and today we have Let's Suggest Supports episode number 5, and we are doing the much anticipated Thancred episode today as a follow-up to the Cecil episode that we did yesterday. So Thancred and Cecil have a lot in common, right? They're both light units. They both are slash attackers that use a sword, although Thancred is kind of nerfed by the fact he can only use one sword in the game, and that's his gunblade. Whatever. They are similar units. So I think we should start this video out by kind of comparing Thancred to Cecil, and you'll see kind of what to expect. Cecil was a guy who reduced the enemy team's damage through shielding his teammates and through nerfing the attack of the other team. Thancred is similar and different to Cecil in some key ways. So let's start by looking at their buffs. Okay, what is Thancred bringing for buffs? Well, he's bringing Superbolide, and that's going to give himself that shield that is like Cecil's shield. 3 hits, 50% damage cut, cool. Now, he's not going to be able to pass that out to his teammates. Instead, the thing he can pass out to his teammates is Heart of Stone and Aurora. I'm going to start with a warning about Aurora. His AI is not the biggest brain when it comes to that. He likes to just toss that out early. He's like Agrius in her region. He's like, hey, you get region, and you get region, and I get region. And he'll spend his whole buffing phase of a fight just passing out Aurora. So for right now, on the map that we have access to in Arena especially, I'm going to suggest turning Aurora off. And let's look at Heart of Stone instead. Now it's a 25 defense buff for 3 turns for an ally. So my brain goes to characters like Agrius here. My brain goes to units like Warrior of Light, who are really tanky, and this 25 defense might be enough to let them take 2 or 3 more hits in a fight and give your team time to clean up. Now, speaking of cleaning up, that is the other thing that Thancred brings. Like Cecil, he brings a good amount of damage to your team. So let's look at those abilities. Let's look at those abilities next. All right, Thancred is bringing Keen Edge, No Mercy, Blasting Zone, Upgraded Blasting Zone, Rough Divide, and Burst Strike. These are not as good, in my opinion, as the attacks that Cecil is bringing. Holy Knight's Blade from Cecil is 200% damage with a 39% attack debuff and an AoE. Man, that's good. That's good. And right here, this is where a lot of people, I think, start taking issue with Thancred a little bit. He lacks a little bit of the stopping power that even Cecil has. Blasting Zone does a lot of damage. It really does. A 225% modifier that has the casting time on it taken off that it used to have, but the AoE it hits in is just 2 spaces in front of him. The enemy has to be very specifically lined up for this to ever hit more than one person. Now, he does like doing it, and it does hit really hard when he uses it. Okay, Rough Divide, this helps him get in to a fight, be that bruiser that he kind of is. It's a good move. Keen Edge is a 2-hit attack for cheap. We like that. No Mercy. This, I put this under attacks because even though it's a buff, it's an attack buff for himself, a slash attack buff. It does boost his damage. So he has some good stuff here, right? But in my opinion, he needs a little bit more. And then where does that come from? That's kind of the question here. Cecil had a limit break. And it's a good limit break, and he even uses it sometimes in certain scenarios. We saw it in the video yesterday. However, Thancred's limit break, the guy writing the code for that got in a, he got lost on the way to work that day, and Gumi was like, adios, Thancred's limit break. Guess you don't need one, brother. It's a little unfortunate for our gunbreaker boy here. My recommendation is Leviathan here. I think Leviathan's attack that comes on that card might be a decent substitute for Thancred, who otherwise has no way of hitting in a diagonal. Even somebody 1 diagonal to the front or back of him, he can't hit him. he must be able to get in a straight line from someone to do damage. At least with Leviathan, if he can't find that, he can use that card to hurt them. And if he's lower on HP, he'll do more damage. So we're going to put all this to the test. All this theory, whatever we've been talking about, we're going to build a team, we're going to hit Arena, and we're going to see how Thancred performs, if he's as good as Cecil, etc. Okay, here we are about to get into a fight, but before we do, let's talk about our setup. We are going to run Agrias, Thancred, and Niv'Lu, and all of them for a very specific reason here. Agrias is going to be our tank. So let's look at the formation here. Agrias is going to take Demon Wall to boost that dark resistance. We're going to go look for dark teams to fight. She's going to run Vow to get that initial hate and to have our characters target her with buffs. And then she's going to run a Plat Armor with a lot of defense on it to kind of add to the strength of defense stacking that's going to happen with Thancred in the group. And then she's going to get Quicken from Niv'Lu, who, very importantly here, and this isn't a Niv'Lu video, but I want to point this out. The current arena map is bad. Like, I think a lot of people are sick of it. I am too. The AI struggles on this map. Niv'Lu is running Mont's TMR, so she won't just jump up onto the mountains and get engaged early. You need a way of keeping her back on this map, and Mont's TMR is just the thing for that. It will trick her into staying back. She'll cast that on turn 1, then she'll start using Quicken. We need that because we want both of them to buff Agrias, and then we want Agrias going forward. Okay, quickly though, let's talk about Thancred's build because this is a video about him. So here's our guy. He's going to run with 42 defense, with the Plat Robe giving a lot of that, with Golem giving some of that, and then here's Leviathan. The thing I believe kind of unlocks Thancred a little bit. Gives him attack here, defense and HP, cool. Pierce resist to the whole group, going to be good against Kayn. It gives him attack plus 10%, HP plus 10%, and slash attack plus 10, and it gives crash edge. So large damage modifier that can hit in that diagonal like we were talking about, and damage goes up according to amount of HP he's lost. So the idea is he goes in there, he buffs early, closes the gap next, and then takes some damage, and I want to see him use Crash Edge. I want to see how much damage he can do with it. I'm really curious. I've been curious about that since I got this card. Otherwise, look at his stats here. 920 attack, really nice. 6,000 HP, really nice. He's not too slow. Even running Golem, 70 agility is respectable. We're running Nebula for some more pierce resist, and jump +1 to help him navigate this map a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. And then, you'll notice here, there's no limit break because it's Thancred. Whoops. Anyway, all right, let's jump into a fight, see what we got. Looking for a dark team. This will be fine. So we had, Kayn, Dwayne, Thancred. Good. Let's do this one. All right. Here's what we want to see happen as I restore my energy. Cool. All right. We need Agrias to separate herself from the team. We want her catching Dwayne's buff and then not standing next to everyone and having people die from AoE. One thing about this map is it tends to just cluster everybody right around that corner where Agrias is standing. Okay, here's Niv'Lu using Mont's TMR, one of the most underrated things in this game by far, just for the ability to get characters to do what she just did. Okay, there's Heart of Stone on Agrias, 25 defense buff. Excellent. Enemy team buffing up, kind of moving into position. We're not worried about their buffs. Ooh, okay, a little bit unlucky here. That Dwayne got far enough ahead that instead of Niv'Lu casting a Quicken on Agrias, she was in range to hit him. I might have to take her range down a little bit after this fight because we're starting to cluster and I don't want to get like AoE disabled or something. Yeah, and now she's short on AP. So, not the greatest start, but she did step up here. Maybe we catch a Confuse or two with Candescent Hue, because Agrias is kind of the core of this group. We are really built to support her and have Niv'Lu do some damage and Thancred do some damage. Anyway, Thancred buffs himself, cool. And there you go. He didn't take a whole lot of damage there. Pretty tanky guy. That's what we want to see. Enemy Thancred is confused, whaps Kayn on the back of the head once. We like that. Enemy nice and grouped for Agrius' Taunting Blade. Down goes Kayn. There was our first Crash Edge. 1500 damage wasn't super impressive, but that was the enemy tank. And he wasn't super low HP yet at this point. 400 damage from the jump there. We like that. That's the Leviathan card in Agrius' defense paying off. Okay. Moving up. Agrius buffing. We're in a pretty good spot here. I think you can see our team worked pretty well. Minus the little hiccup at the beginning with Niv'Lu not really doing what we wanted. Another Crash Edge, 1300. This is a pretty tanky team we're against, but so far not super impressed with Crash Edge's damage. However, we were really hitting bruisers and tanks there the whole time, not squishy targets. But we won. All 3 of our units were alive. Had this been a Guild Wars fight, we would be very healthy to, or very capable, I should say, of hitting another team next and doing some damage. So we'd be happy with that. Let's find another fight, make some adjustments to Niv'Lu, and see how we do. Okay, for this fight, we took Niv'Lu's range down by 1, and we're just having her run range +1 instead of +2. We have a Kayn, Dwayne, Little Leela, a very common arena/Guild Wars opponent here. Let's see if the comp it performed pretty well last time, but let's see if it performs more like what we're planning on it performing like this time. Although, hey, if every time my comp did weird stuff, I won with 3 units alive, I'd sign up for that every single time. Anyway, Niv'Lu, gonna cast Mont's TMR. Excellent. There's Bells from Agrius, pretty standard. Enemy Kayn, actually running Divine Grace, kind of weird there. But you can see the enemy's trying to manipulate movement. This dude's in Cetra, so you assume he knows what he's doing. Now, this is what we want Niv'Lu doing. She's gonna hang back now and just start casting Quickens until the enemy moves up. This is going to let Agrius do what she just did. She goes Saintly Wall, and then is immediately going to get another turn to either drop her Limit Break and confuse somebody, or get a Taunting Blade off and really lock in that hate. Okay, there's Taunting Blade. Agrius now has a ton of hate. We're buffing, moving forward, and not standing right next to her. Like, it's so important to stress that. Now, unfortunately, the enemy Little Leela is going to go DPS mode, but look at Agrius sit here and just tank stuff like a boss. Another charge coming from Niv'Lu, this time on Thancred. Let's see what he's in range to do. Well, okay. He closes the gap and ends up kind of standing next to Agrius. Let's see if this costs us. No, he's not going to catch any damage yet. Enemy team really focused on Agrius here. They're going to chain some piercing. Niv'Lu, it's time to move up and do some damage now. Agrius still standing there like a monster. Finally goes down. So, Agrius dead. Niv'Lu, that range decrease has really kept her back, which we wanted, but maybe we didn't want her staying back this much. We'll see how it works. Thancred's a pretty tanky guy, and Niv'Lu's in range to start doing some things now. Enemy has a lot of healing, so yeah, I'm feeling like Leela probably heals this up. Let's see. Thancred, let's see a Crash Edge right here. Oh man, that would have been the ultimate Crash Edge, and he just couldn't find it. Too bad. Okay, Thancred goes down. It's Niv'Lu versus 2. Enemy Kayn, though, not... Oh, I don't know if I agree with that target selection, Niv'Lu. But she's fast from Mont's TMR. Courage. He heals. That's irrelevant. Okay, he's just buffing and healing. Can she do it? Niv'Lu versus the world. She should have some AP. Slow shot. And that's a victory. So there you go. Our team is sort of weird, and we beat a pretty dang meta team. Again, though, I would still... like, Niv'Lu needs some adjustment. That range +2 would have been helpful there instead of just +1. However, she really came through clutch in the end. You got to see just how tanky Agrius was with the buff from Thancred and the ability to keep buffing herself and moving forward that Quicken was giving her. I mean, she tanked through, well, all of Kayn's AP that ended up losing them the fight. She tanked through Holies from Leela. She tanked through Dwayne's jumps. She was a monster and bought us enough time to win the match. All right, one last fight, and just for fun, we're gonna make like the Light Brothers comp here, just like the Light Bros. We're gonna go Warrior of Light, Thancred, Cecil, like all three other Final Fantasy game limited characters. And just for fun, we're gonna throw this group together and see what it can do. Let's just hit the let's just hit the top person in the thing. Let's see. Niv'Lu's a debuffer. I don't want to hit the debuffer because this is like a super buffing group. Okay, wait, hold on. This group's going to suck against debuffs, so we're going to find not Niv'Lu. Perfect. Not Niv'Lu. Yeah, so let's see what the Light Bros can do against the Dark Bros and aipOQ. I have no idea. I've never tested this team before. We're just going to do it live. But in theory, everyone should layer their buffs on Warrior of Light. And he should be really, really hard to kill. In theory. We'll see. Anyway, aipOQ buffing, Dwayne buffing. Their team is set up to move forward kind of slowly. There's bells on Kain, so we're not going to be able to drain through his AP. Warrior of Light does his buff, gets another buff. Okay. We get the attack buff from Thancred this time because we're running that on him, making him the true support that he wants to be. You know, give him all the buffs. All right. Dwayne buffing himself. He's going to start trying to find his way forward. Same thing with Cecil. And Cecil doing a pretty good job of not overextending. Interesting choice by Warrior of Light there. I didn't see that one coming. Choosing to go backwards, and these dudes, like, see, they're bros. They're back there just high-fiving, giving out some buffs, trying to throw the fight. You know, alright. Whatever you guys want to do, I guess. Okay, Thancred's pretty dang tanky, though, so there's that. Warrior of Light going to finally get into range to do some things here. Going to go with his limit break, so we'll get a nice little 3-hit light attack that will chain nicely with the rest of the bros. 1, 2, and 3. Now follow that up, Cecil, with a little AoE. Oh, he AoEs the other two. Says, aipOQ's going to die. We're not putting up with her shenanigans this fight. There's courage off of Kain. Wait, is the Light Bros a really good team? That confused might be bad news for us. No, they hook us up by getting rid of the confused guy, so we're fine. Warrior of Light says, instead of killing Kain, I'm just going to buff myself again. Thancred takes care of Kain. Awesome. Dwayne, going to drop his limit break here on Warrior of Light. Here we go. 1, 2, 2-hit attack. Does almost no damage. Warrior of Light is a tanky boy in this group. He debuffs Dwayne. Cecil walks in, or Cecil, I'm sorry. Our boy Thancred walks in, double hits him, takes him down, and light prevails over darkness. The Light Brothers have beaten the Dark Bros. GG. Okay, it's time to wrap up Thancred's video here, give him his final scores, and see where he ranks in the support so far, according to my completely arbitrary ranking system. Anyway, healing, easy 0 because he doesn't heal. But like Cecil, we're not counting on him to heal, so even though he's getting a 0 here, I'm not going to hold that against him in his final score a ton. Okay, buffs. I'm actually going to give him a 90 on buffs, the same score I gave to Cecil. Now hear me out here. I think Cecil is better at buffing his teammates than Thancred is. I think Cecil's 50% damage reduction that he can buff in an AoE is better than Thancred's single target 25 defense buff. However, if you're really focusing on making one very unkillable, perhaps slow tank, I think Thancred's buff could outperform. I'm talking about somebody like Engelbert here. Engelbert's slow enough that he might get 3 full Engelbert turns out of that buff, which could be better than maybe just getting the 3 hits out of Cecil's buff, etc. Now, unfortunately, with the map we're on, we don't get to use Engelbert that much. He's hard to use on this map because he's forced into one position and everybody's forced to go next to him. He can't separate. All the reasons I don't like Engelbert on this map, so I didn't even show it. I showed Agrius instead, and I would rather Agrius catch Cecil's buff in most scenarios. Now, luckily, Agrius can buff herself with that same shield. Well, a version of it, whatever. However, Thancred buffing himself, I think, is better than Cecil buffing himself. So, if you're really hurting for a tank and you're running like a bruiser comp, I think Vow of Love on Thancred, and then turn off other abilities, have him put Superbolide on himself, you kind of have a decent tank substitute there. Now, he's not going to be able to generate any more hate for you, but he could be that like Dwayne type of light tank, etc. Okay, so that's his buffs. Let's talk about his damage. Here, I'm going to score him a little bit lower than Cecil. I don't think he has as good of damage capabilities as Cecil does. Now, I know a lot of you are like, wait, there's Dragoon Warrior, or Dragoon Thancred. That's true. He can run Dragoon and he can jump. However, he can't equip spears, so he's losing the, the piercing damage up from that. And if he's Dragoon, he's not support anymore. He loses his ability to buff his teammates. So that's for a different video. Like, that's a different version of Thancred for a different time. So I'm going to give him an 80 here. His damage is respectable, but not as good as Cecil's, who was really high damage. Okay, movement. I'm going to improve him over Cecil here and give him a 75 because he has the ability to turn on jump +1, which on maps where you need to navigate terrain, that jump +1 might be really clutch. For that reason, I give him a 75 instead of a 70. Speed, he literally has the exact same speed as Cecil. They're both going to get a 75. They're not fast, they're not slow, they're pretty average. That's fine. And then durability, I'm going to stick that 90 on him again. I think because he's so good at buffing himself and he likes to wear Leviathan or any other defense card to help support your group, I'm really comfortable giving him a 90. As a support, he's a super durable support. So, overall, what's my score for him? Yeah, I'm just going to tie him with Cecil. I'm going to give him an 85. They are really similar units that both do a good job at what they do. Are they A-level units? They're not. They're not. Are they super cool and super fun to use? Yes, they absolutely are that. And they both do a good job buffing and then engaging the enemy. Cecil, more debuffs, more damage. Thancred, more focus on your single tank, shift in there and put out damage at close range, etc. So he's a good unit, you guys, and we basically just got him for free. I didn't pay for any of his shards. I got them all from the ticket pulls. For a free unit, he's fantastic. And guess who else was free? His light bro Cecil. So, yeah, they're pretty dang similar people, and for both of them I spent very little Visior, and I'm very happy to have both of them for that investment level. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Thancred. He's really fun, he's really cool, and in fact he and Cecil apparently work really well on a team together. I'm going to have to play with the Light Bros team a little bit more and make it a little more serious in the future. Anyhow, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, check out the rest of the support series, especially check out Cecil's video if you haven't. Throw me a like, throw me a subscribe. Welcome to the channel and have a great day, everybody.